Something inside you knows that what you are reading right now is not an accident. You may have been scrolling mindlessly, thinking about something else, or carrying the weight of a long day. But the moment this message appeared, a small part of you recognized it. A quiet inner voice whispered, "This is for me." And that voice is right. Archangel Michael says, "A door is opening for you right now, and you need to hear this." Let those words settle in your mind, because they are not poetic. They are not symbolic. They are literal, energetic truth. There is a shift happening around you, a shift you have felt in subtle ways for days, weeks, maybe even months. But now, for the first time, the shift is becoming visible. Take a slow, steady breath. Feel your chest soften. Feel the tension inside you loosen. Because this message is not here to confuse you. It is here to confirm what your spirit has already sensed. Something has been preparing to change in your life. You've felt the signs, moments that didn't feel right. People whose energies suddenly felt distant. Opportunities that stalled no matter how hard you tried. Intuitions that whispered, "Wait," unexpected delays, unusual coincidences. Emotional heaviness without explanation. A strange sense that something is ending, even before anything actually ended. You brushed these sensations aside. You told yourself you were imagining things. You tried to push through. You tried to be logical. You tried to be patient. You tried to control the outcome. But deep down, you knew something was shifting. Now Michael is giving you the clarity your soul has been waiting for. This door didn't appear randomly. It's the result of everything you've endured. Think back on your journey. You didn't reach this moment easily. You walked through seasons of confusion, heartbreak, frustration, and silence. You carried burdens no one else saw. You held yourself together when everything around you felt unsteady. You kept going even when your spirit felt thin. You prayed, hoped, waited, doubted, and still kept moving forward. Nothing you have lived was wasted. Not a single tear. Not a single disappointment. Not a single delay. Not a single moment of loneliness. Not a single unanswered question. Everything you endured became the key that unlocked this moment. Michael says, you were not being blocked. You were being prepared. A path that once felt closed is opening. A blessing that felt stuck is moving. A shift that felt impossible is beginning. And this isn't happening by luck. It is happening by divine timing. You've reached a point in your journey where your energy, your wisdom, and your readiness have finally aligned. This alignment is the reason the door appears now and not before. You weren't ready earlier. Not because you were weak, but because what awaited you behind the door required a stronger, clearer, more awakened version of you. And now, you are that version. Take another breath. Let the reality of that settle into you. There is something powerful in knowing that you survived things that were meant to break you. There is something sacred in realizing you grew in silence. There is something transformative in recognizing that your spirit never gave up, even when you felt like you might. This is why Michael says, a door only opens when your soul is prepared. Your soul is prepared. You may not feel completely confident. You may not feel completely healed. You may not feel completely ready. But readiness is not a feeling. It is a state of alignment. And right now, you are aligned. Look honestly at your recent experiences, the sudden endings, the intuitive nudges, the emotional release, the quiet realizations, the shifting desires, the moments where you finally admitted, I deserve better than this. All of this is evidence of your alignment. You are not who you were last year. You are not even who you were 2 months ago. Your spirit has been shedding, cleansing, releasing, transforming, preparing for this opening. Michael wants you to understand something essential. This door leads to clarity, restoration, and alignment. Clarity, meaning you will finally see why things had to happen the way they did. Restoration, meaning what you lost will be replaced with something higher, cleaner, truer. Alignment, meaning your life will begin to match your spirit, not your fears. This is not a small opportunity. This is not a temporary shift. This is a chapter-level transformation. And the reason you feel a subtle pull inside your chest right now is because your spirit recognizes its own destiny. The opening you feel is real. You may feel a warmth in your heart, a softness in your breathing, a sense of anticipation you can't explain, a calmness settling into your body, a quiet voice whispering, "This is it." These sensations are not imagination. They are confirmation. Michael says, this door opens forward, not backward, meaning you cannot return to the old version of yourself. You cannot return to old patterns. You cannot return to relationships that drained you. You cannot return to situations that suffocated you. You cannot shrink yourself to fit where you no longer belong. This is a forward-moving door. It will not open behind you, only ahead. And stepping through it requires only one thing, a willingness to say yes, not a grand gesture, not a perfect plan, not absolute confidence, just a quiet, honest, inner yes. If you feel that yes inside you, even faintly, you can anchor it by saying, Hazarim, or I'm ready. But even if you don't say it out loud, your energy already knows. You have reached the threshold. Michael's final statement in this part is gentle but powerful. This is your moment. The door opens because you are ready. Let that truth settle deep into your spirit, because everything changes from here. Something inside you is beginning to shift, not in a dramatic or chaotic way, but in a quiet, undeniable way. It feels like a truth rising from beneath everything you've been holding, everything you've been suppressing, everything you've been carrying alone. The opening of this door is not just happening around you. It is happening within you. And Archangel Michael wants you to understand why. He says, the door is opening because you stopped betraying your own spirit. Let that settle. Let it expand inside you. For a long time, you placed yourself second. You ignored your intuition to keep the peace. You held on to people who had already let go of you inside their hearts. You forced yourself to remain in situations that drained your energy. You tried to stay small so others could feel comfortable. You hid your strength to avoid making others insecure. You silenced your needs to avoid being a burden. Your spirit endured all of this, patiently, quietly, lovingly. But a spirit can only be silenced for so long before it begins to rise. And yours has risen. That rise is what created this opening. Michael says, you outgrew the walls you once built to protect yourself. These walls helped you survive. They kept you safe through old pain, old fear, old instability. But now they have become too tight. What once protected you is now limiting you. What once kept you safe is now holding you back. What once gave you comfort is now suffocating you. That is why this door is appearing so clearly. You cannot live behind those walls anymore. Take a breath, a deeper one this time. Feel your chest expand into the space that is opening. Michael wants you to see this truth. You have been preparing for this moment without realizing it. Think about the subtle changes that have been happening within you. You no longer tolerate conversations that drain your peace. You no longer force connections that feel one-sided. You no longer pretend something is fine when it clearly is not. You no longer carry guilt for prioritizing your well-being. You no longer feel the need to explain or justify your intuition. You no longer chase what doesn't respond to your spirit. You no longer fear letting go of what hurts you. This is not a coincidence. This is evolution. A spiritual, emotional, and energetic evolution that has been happening quietly beneath your everyday life. Each moment of disappointment strengthened you. Each moment of loneliness clarified you. Each ending purified you. Each setback redirected you. Now the path is clear enough for the door to open. Michael says, the door appears when the soul is strong enough to walk through it. And you are strong enough now, even if you doubt it, even if you feel tired, even if you have moments where you question yourself. Strength is not loud. Strength is not dramatic. Strength is the quiet decision to keep moving when you feel you have nothing left. You made that decision so many times. That is why the door is opening. Another truth Michael wants you to receive is this: what you lost was never meant to stay with the version of you that exists now. This may be difficult to swallow, but it is deeply liberating. Some people were not meant to walk into your next chapter. Some experiences were not meant to follow you into the future. Some energies were not compatible with the person you are becoming. Some opportunities were too small for your expanding spirit. Some relationships were tied to your wounded past, not your healed future. Losing them was not punishment. It was preparation. Take another breath. Let it fill the space inside your chest that used to feel heavy. Michael says, this is the moment your spirit stops shrinking and starts expanding. You can feel that expansion beginning. It shows up in small ways. A new clarity in your mind. A softening of tension in your body. A sense of hope you haven't felt in a long time. A desire for change that no longer feels frightening. A slow, steady return of confidence. A whisper inside you saying, something good is coming. This inner whisper is not wishful thinking. It is guidance. You are sensing the energy behind the door, the energy of alignment. Michael explains it this way: behind this door is a version of your life that matches the truth of who you are. Not the version of you shaped by fear. Not the version shaped by expectations. Not the version shaped by survival. Not the version shaped by old wounds. But the version shaped by clarity, strength, and restoration. This is why the door feels magnetic. It is calling you forward, not backward. Now Michael asks you a question. Are you willing to step into a life that aligns with your soul, even if it means leaving behind what felt familiar? This is where many people hesitate, not because they lack courage, but because they confuse familiarity with safety. But familiarity can be painful. Familiarity can be draining. Familiarity can keep you stuck in patterns you have outgrown. You are no longer meant to live in that space. If you feel even a small pull in your chest as you read this, it's because you already know the answer. You are ready. Michael continues, you are not walking into the unknown. You are walking into who you are always meant to become. Read that again, slowly. Let it echo through your whole being. The fear you feel I sent to fear. It is the sensation of stepping out of a cage. It is the unfamiliar feeling of freedom. It is the beginning of self-alignment. It is the beginning of destiny. You may wonder, what if I make the wrong choice? But Michael reassures you, a door opened by the divine cannot lead you in the wrong direction. You will be guided. You will be protected. You will be held through the transition. You will be supported as you walk forward. All you have to do is allow it. If you want to anchor your readiness, you may say quietly, I'm ready to step forward. Because the truth is, you are already stepping. Just by acknowledging this message. Just by recognizing the shift. Just by listening to your intuition. Just by allowing this moment to touch your spirit. Michael ends this part with one more message. The door opens now. Do not dim your light. Walk forward. Let these words settle deep into your heart. Because the next part of your life depends on them. There is something unfolding inside you right now. A quiet recognition, a settling, a soft awakening. It feels like a truth that was buried for years is finally rising to the surface, not with chaos, but with clarity. Michael says this clarity is not accidental. It is the result of everything you have released, everything you have outgrown, and everything you have healed. He says, you are crossing from who you were into who you were meant to become. This is not a metaphor. This is a spiritual transition, a threshold where your past and future no longer overlap. You can feel it in the way your mind has been shifting, your emotions have been evolving, and your heart has been shedding old patterns that no longer resonate with your path. For so long, you carried the weight of expectations that were never yours. You absorbed emotions that didn't belong to you. You stayed loyal to situations that drained your spirit. You remained connected to people who did not honor your heart. You walked roads that were never meant for your future. And yet, through every misalignment, your spirit kept whispering, "There is more for you." Michael wants you to understand this deeply. That whisper was not imagination. It was direction. Your life has been shifting in ways you could not fully explain. A sudden distance from people you used to feel close to. A lack of interest in things that once excited you. A quiet discomfort in situations you used to accept. A growing desire for peace, clarity, and truth. A need to simplify, to release, to detach. A sense that something no longer fits, even if you cannot say why. These inner changes are not random. They are symptoms of a soul that is aligning with a higher path. Take a slow breath. Allow the truth to soften your chest. Michael says, your old life is dissolving because your spirit no longer inhabits it. This is why you felt out of place lately. Your spirit has already crossed the threshold, and your mind is catching up. Your intuition has already stepped through the door, and your physical life is rearranging itself to follow. You may not realize it yet, but you have already begun the transition. Think about the moments when something inside you said, "I can't ignore this anymore." Think about the times when you felt done, not out of anger, but out of evolution. Think about the choices you made recently that were guided not by fear, but by instinct. Think about the sudden clarity that dissolved doubt in moments when you needed it most. These were not coincidences. These were spiritual markers, indicators that your life is shifting into a new direction. Michael says, you are no longer bound to what wounded you. You are bound to what awakens you. Let that truth echo through your entire being. You are not meant to repeat the patterns that drained your spirit. You are not meant to remain in cycles that keep you small. You are not meant to apologize for your growth. You are not meant to shrink to fit into old versions of yourself. You are not meant to be loyal to pain. You are not meant to stay in rooms where your soul dims itself to be accepted. You are meant to expand. You are meant to heal. You are meant to rise. Take another breath, slow, deliberate, grounding. Michael says, what feels like an ending is actually the unlocking of your spirit. Those heavy emotions you've been feeling. That quiet sadness that comes out of nowhere. That sense of separation from your old life. That nostalgia mixed with relief. That confusion mixed with clarity. These are all signs of shedding. You are shedding old identities. Old stories, old attachments, old wounds. Old versions of yourself that you no longer resonate with. This shedding can feel like loss, but it is actually liberation. Michael explains it this way. You are stepping out of the person you had to be and into the person you truly are. For years, you shaped yourself based on survival, not authenticity. Now survival is no longer your mission. Alignment is. This shift may feel unfamiliar because you've been in survival mode for so long that peace feels strange. But peace is your natural state. Clarity is your natural state. Freedom is your natural state. Self-respect is your natural state. Spiritual alignment is your natural state. You are returning home to yourself. Michael now asks you to observe something important. Notice how your spirit no longer tolerates what used to drain you. This is one of the clearest signs that the door is already open. You no longer have energy for drama. You no longer entertain confusion. You no longer absorb other people's negativity. You no longer chase validation. You no longer cling to those who do not choose you. You no longer allow guilt to control your decisions. You no longer fear being alone because you've started to trust your own presence. This shift is not weakness. It is awakening. And awakening always happens before the new chapter begins. Michael continues, You cannot enter your new chapter with the weight of your old one. That is why so much has been falling away. Not because you are losing your life, but because you are gaining yourself. Take another deep breath. Feel how your being gently responds to this truth. There may be a part of you that wonders, what if I'm not ready? What if I step through the door and fail? Michael answers you directly. You are not stepping into uncertainty. You are stepping into alignment. When something is aligned with your soul, you cannot fail. You may learn, you may adjust, you may evolve, but you cannot fail. Because alignment always leads you deeper into truth. Listen closely. The fear you feel right now is not fear of the future. It is the unfamiliarity of freedom. You are not afraid of what's ahead. You are afraid of letting go of what once defined you. But letting go is how you transform. Michael says, do not fear the door. Fear staying where your spirit can no longer breathe. Your spirit has already chosen. Your energy has already shifted. Your intuition has already stepped forward. Now your body, your choices, your daily life will follow. This is what happens when a divine door opens. Life begins to rearrange itself around your awakening. As you read these words, you may feel a warmth in your chest, a calmness washing over you, or a sense of truth settling into your body. These sensations are not coincidences. They are confirmations. Michael ends this part with a final message. You are not stepping into the unknown. You are stepping into the truth of who you are. And the truth is what will set everything in motion.
You've reached the final stretch of this message, and something inside you feels different now. Lighter, more aware, more grounded. Not because everything suddenly became easy, but because the truth finally found a place to land within you. What you are feeling right now, that subtle warmth, that quiet clarity, that internal shift, is the energy of alignment. It is the moment your spirit catches up with what your soul has known all along. You are ready. Archangel Michael speaks gently but with unmistakable authority. The door is open. All that remains is for you to walk through it. These words are not symbolic. They are literal. A spiritual opening has formed around you, a moment where the past releases you and the future calls to you at the same time. This moment does not come often, but when it does, it changes everything. This door represents three things. 1. A new beginning aligned with your true self. 2. A release from what has weighed you down. 3. A shift that elevates your entire life path. And now, Michael wants you to understand what stepping through this door really means. To walk through the door is to choose yourself. For years, you chose others first. You chose peace over truth. You chose comfort over growth. You chose to silence your own needs so others would not feel discomfort. You chose to carry emotional weight that never belonged to you. You chose to stay loyal to situations that did not honor you. But when a door like this opens, those patterns lose their power. You can feel it already. That old heaviness doesn't grip you the same way anymore. That old fear doesn't control you the same way anymore. That old pain doesn't define you anymore. Michael says, you are not who you were when the wounds happened. You are who you became because of them, and that version of you, the stronger, wiser, awakened version, is the one being called through the door. Take a slow breath as you let that truth sink into your chest. To walk through the door is to accept that what ended was meant to end. This is the part many people resist. They cling to the familiar. They cling to past relationships. They cling to old dreams. They cling to versions of themselves they have already outgrown. They cling because they are afraid that releasing the past means losing themselves. But you are not losing yourself, you are returning to yourself. The endings in your life were not punishments. They were exits. They were redirections. They were intervention. Life was removing what your soul could no longer carry. Michael says, what left your life created space for what is aligned with your destiny. Look at your recent experiences. Who stepped back? What fell apart? Which connections dissolved naturally? Which opportunities slipped away? Which habits no longer felt right? All of those were signals, preparing you, clearing space, aligning the path. A door cannot open if the space before it is filled with what does not belong. To walk through the door is to trust yourself again. You forgot your own strength for a while. You doubted your intuition. You questioned your decisions. You believed others before you believed yourself. You silenced your own voice, but your intuition never left you. It was simply waiting for the noise to quiet. Now, the noise is gone, the distractions are fading, the old attachments are dissolving. Your spirit has more room to speak again. Michael says, the door opens when your spirit remembers its own voice, and you are remembering now. You can feel it, that quiet confidence returning, that inner knowing resurfacing, that gentle but powerful sense of direction awakening within you. This is what it feels like to trust yourself. To walk through the door is to allow the future to arrive. For so long, you held the future at arm's length. Not because you didn't want it, but because you feared disappointment. You feared repeating old pain. You feared hoping again. You feared believing in something beautiful. You feared losing before you even gained. But now something is different. Hope doesn't feel dangerous anymore. It feels sacred. It feels earned. It feels like a light returning to your chest. Michael says, you are stepping into a future shaped by truth, not fear. And he's right. You can feel it. This opening is not fragile. It is not unstable. It is not temporary. It is a divine shift, and divine shifts do not collapse. This future has weight. It has grounding. It has purpose. To walk through the door is to complete the shedding. The last piece of the transition is release. Release the guilt. Release the fear. Release the pressure to be perfect. Release the need to over-explain. Release the old identity that doesn't fit anymore. Release the people who cannot meet you where you are going. Release the version of yourself who accepted less. Michael says, you cannot carry your old self into your new chapter. Because your new chapter requires a higher frequency one you have already stepped into internally. Your external world is simply catching up. You are shedding the old, not because it was all bad, but because you are no longer the person who needed it. To walk through the door is to claim the life meant for you, and that is the heart of this final message. This opening is not just spiritual, it is emotional, it is mental, it is energetic, it is destiny-level alignment. You are being invited, not forced, not pushed, not pressured, invited into the next chapter of your life. It is a chapter where your peace is protected, your intuition is trusted, your boundaries are solid, your relationships are authentic. Your energy is honored, your purpose is clear, your soul is centered, your future is aligned. This is the life calling you through the door. Michael whispers, this is your moment. Walk forward, not with fear, not with hesitation, not with doubt. Walk with the quiet confidence of someone who has survived, learned, risen, healed, and awakened. Walk with the certainty that you are supported. Walk with the knowing that you are protected. Walk with the truth that you are ready. If you want to seal this message within your energy, you may affirm, I'm ready for my new chapter, because the door is open. Your spirit is aligned. Your destiny is calling. And now, you step through.